What's up, everybody? I am so pumped up. My friends are leaving on their dirt bikes. It's going to be an exciting day here on Cycledrag. I met a really cool guy at the drag strip, Jack Robinson. He's a Hayabusa racer. He saw my Hayabusa. He knows all about Cycledrag, and he said, hey, if you ever get some downtime, take a ride up to my shop, and we'll dyno tune your bike. And I'm like, man, that is an incredible offer. Yeah, sounds good to me. He said, you won't believe the difference. So in this video, we're going to get the before and after. I got 264 miles of the before and then the trip back. I can't wait. Let's go check it out. It is another beautiful day for a ride. Let's get on the road. Come on with me. All right, let's fire the Suzuki Hayabusa up and get on the road. Stay with us. In this video, guys, we'll take the 270-mile jaunt up to Fresno, California, meet Jack Robinson. We're going to see multiple motorcycles on the dyno, including a couple BMW S1000rrs. But first, let's hit the highway from the Inland Empire in California. Now, I always try to mind my manners, but this Camaro was playing some games. He kept blowing by me, revving up his engine. Like I said, it's early in the morning. I'm going slow. Look at this. Finally gapped me. I had to show him just a little bit of the Suzuki Hayabusa power. I was laying back, and then I said, you know what? Let me just touch the throttle just a little bit. See ya. See you later. Sorry, had to do it. Sorry, Mom. But what I really liked is there were so many motorcyclists out on this gorgeous day. We took the ride up the 5 to the 99, a really pretty ride, and traffic volume was down, which was always a wonderful thing. Scenery got beautiful as you approached Bakersfield as well. As I said before, please stay with us all throughout this video. We're going to meet some drag racing friends. We're going to see a Buell drag bike on the dyno. We're going to see what we can make with the Hayabusa stock, and then after the guys play with it, we're going to talk about Power Commander versus stock ECU and what they can do with the stock ECU. We're going to see a Harley Softail on the dyno, and like I said, 2 BMW S1000rrs looking to make max horsepower. That is all coming up. If you know anything about dynos, please share your information. A quick stop for gas. We'll put some 87 in it. That's what we make max horsepower with, believe it or not. Motorcycle Club waiting, gathering for a ride. It was the Mongols over there. They had some pretty sweet bikes. I think I'll just mind my business and carry on. Get back on the road. Great to see a lot of bikes out there, though. Now, as I said, we're going to show you a lot here. If you're new to the term dyno, a dynamometer is an instrument which measures the power output of an engine. A whole lot more. We're going to talk about air-fuel ratio, and we're really going to see how you can make your bike come alive with just some tuning into your Power Commander or ECU. Hey, we met a friend. Check out this beautiful Victory rumbling down the streets of Fresno. How you doing, sir?
What's up?
What's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel, we were just talking off camera for a second. You were saying Victory was your dream bike. Yeah. Unfortunately, they went out of business. Tell me how you ended up with this thing.
I just found it on Facebook for a dude in San Francisco wanted to give it up, and so I came up on a good bike on that price.
Sure. What was the price on it?
$4,000.
What a steal! How do you like the ride of the Victory?
Oh, smooth, powerful, best sound engine I've heard.
Are you worried about getting parts now that the company's out of business, or is the aftermarket big enough?
Aftermarket's big enough as far as main parts. Accessories and stuff are hard to find, but as far as engine and transmission, I can get the parts for it. So.
Awesome, man. Thanks for showing us your bike. Keep it safe.
No problem.
Beautiful ride. And we finally made it. We are here. Look at all these motorcycles at Jack's shop. Even a Top Fuel Harley chassis. Woo, we finally made it. My back's a little sore. My butt's a little sore, but look at this place. And my friends are here. Hey, how about you, Pro Fuel Legend? I didn't expect to see you, Scott.
How you doing, guys?
Good to see you, man.
Clean shaven. I
am so excited to come to Jack's shop, Team Robinson. I know you've been here a lot. What are we going to see today in the shop?
That's up to what's going on. I believe we got a Heritage Softail on the dyno.
Let's go check it out.
We got a few bikes here.
We have found the oasis of speed, Mr. Jack Robinson. How you doing, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing great now that I'm at your shop. We've been talking about this for a long time. It was great meeting you at the drags, and I really appreciate you extending the invitation for me to come up here. How many years have you had a motorcycle shop in Fresno?
We've been here 13 years now. Me and my buddy Justin Sharp, Tony Ruggiero's been here with me for about the last year, along with Scott Oakley. Basically, we're tuning a lot of drag bikes, a lot of Harleys, a lot of sport bikes for guys. Thomas here, we're getting ready to do his second BMW.
Second BMW.
Building a custom bike over here for my girlfriend Carrie.
Under the blanket.
Under the blanket.
Top
It's
secret.
top secret stuff.
All right, we'll respect that.
So,
hello everybody, thank you for having us. We got the whole crew.
So we're looking forward to doing your bike today and see what kind of power we can pull.
Man,
out of
I'm
that.
excited. Now see, you know Busa's like the back of your hand. What can you expect out of a stock motor bike?
Over 200 horsepower at the wheel,
Wow.
hands down.
What's the key to getting it out of that?
This man, Justin Sharp.
Excellent.
He's been known as the Wizard for years. Between him and I, we'll pull every ounce of power out of a motorcycle and still make it safe for you.
So is it safe to say from the factory they're leaving a lot on the table to be safe?
A lot on the table. Probably stock Busa we normally see first hit 170, 172 horsepower. Turn everything off that they put on because of California emissions, etc. On a drag bike, we'll get over 200 out of it.
Wow. Any disadvantages when you tune your bike like that in terms of reliability or anything, or is it just straight up more powerful?
No disadvantages.
Wow.
All advantages, all across the board.
I can't wait. And I really appreciate you having me up here as well. I'm excited to participate in your talents. What do we got on the dyno right now?
Softail Harley 96-inch.
Okay. And what are we trying to get out of this bike?
Pretty much already done. So got an extra like 5 horsepower and 8 foot-pounds.
So you guys are making big gains just tapping into the stock ECUs?
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing.
Drivability is the most important thing. Is not the 100% throttle. How often are you actually at 100% throttle, especially on a cruiser? Right?
Sure.
So all the smoothness and power delivery that's smooth throughout all the whole band is the real important thing on this. It makes it a better, much better pleasure to drive.
Awesome, guys. Can't wait to see what the Busa can do.
We got a lot to see. The Harley is on the dyno. By the way, Softail is a motorcycle with its rear suspension springs or shock absorbers located out of direct view so as to look like a hardtail motorcycle. The word Softail is a registered trademark of Harley Davidson, coined for the FX ST Softail in 1984. Well, let's let the masters do their thing. I'm so glad you have stuck with us in this video. Many more bikes to come. Let's see how much horsepower we can get out of this Harley.
Started out 76.63 horsepower, 8740 foot-pounds of torque. We gained some horsepower, lost a little bit of torque because of the heat in the motor. But if you look at this first run, this is the torque curve right here. You see how choppy it is right there? And then drops down, and then comes up, and then goes down. And the bike was basically falling on its face about 6150. Okay? Horsepower kind of went up and dropped off. That was the first run the bike.
Okay.
By the time we got all tuned, you watch the torque just take straight off, as smooth as we can make that line as possible, carrying out to almost 6,300 RPM.
Wow.
And nice curve there. Let's forget about these numbers for a minute, okay? And this is what we really want to look at. So run number 2. This here is 13.2, that center line. Okay, so the AFR, lean, rich, garbage. That's what makes you lose power. Okay, the closer you can get to this.
What is the
line,
AFR? Air-fuel ratio?
ratio.
Explain that to somebody who may be watching this for the first time.
It's how you mix the air and fuel in the cylinders of the cylinders of the motorcycle.
Excellent.
So the closer you can get to this line, you may not see big horsepower numbers, but you're going to see astronomical performance increases. Now, a Harley, because of the way they build their throttle bodies, it's really difficult to get a flat line because you got one cylinder up and one cylinder down, and it doesn't like really flowing up. Your front cylinder always runs a little bit different than your rear cylinder. So when you can get it that close, and this is on a hot motor too, so it's a really good number. So, and as we went through different things, let me get rid of these two here for you real quick. A stock tune is, so we actually go in and add fuel to bring it down, you know, and this is different throttle positions. So this is probably 12%, that's 15%, 20%, 30%, 40%, and 80%. Now, if you get rid of everything to 80%, you can see 80% is almost a flat line.
Wow.
So you're gaining more power the more you go. It carries your horsepower and torque through the curve.
We are going to get an education. We're also going to have some fun with predictions. Up next is an unbelievably fast BMW S1000rr, one of the fastest sport bikes out there.
2020 BMW 1000 SS. Man, awesome bike. What's your name, sir?
Thomas.
Hey, tell me about your motorcycle here.
Well, it's a 2020 BMW. It's the fourth generation of the inline four that BMW came out with in 2010. The manufacturer said that, you know, it has 205 horsepower, but I did a few mods on it with the help of these guys over here, Justin and Jack, and we're just going to see what it's running right now and then make some adjustments from there.
What horsepower did you pull the first time you had it?
I believe it was a 187, wasn't it?
187, okay.
Yeah, 187.
And what changes have you made since then?
ECU flash, full aquapovic exhaust, the intake flapper delete kit, which is, they have two flappers on the inside right here.
Okay.
And then ITA, which is the temperature sensor on the inside of the box that's underneath the tank. Moved it up front here, which gives the ECU more accurate temp measurements when the wind's going in through the radiator.
In terms of riding this bike on the street, once you flashed the ECU, what was the difference that you felt?
Immediate and big difference.
I saw your eyes got big there. Is that's what happened underneath your helmet?
Oh yes, exactly.
What are you hoping for today in terms of horsepower?
I'd be happy with, you know, close to 200 and you know, or maybe a little bit over that. That'd be fine. But then again, like I said, this is just a test to see where we're at, and they should be able to tweak it a little bit more once we're done with that.
Thanks for showing us.
Yeah. So if you're right, or if Thomas is right, he doesn't got to pay $100. If you're right, he pays you $100, or you $100, whoever $100. But if not, he's going to pay me $100 anyway.
So we're taking horsepower bets here. All right, we're gonna mark down. What's everybody's guess? By the way, there's the man Tony in the house. How you doing, Tony?
I'm good, Jack. How you doing, man?
I'm happy to be here.
Good to see you in Fresno.
Good to see you as well. What are we guessing here? Horsepower. What are we gonna see?
197.
197. Okay. How about you?
I'm gonna push it
wanna
before
know what it
or
was
after.
before?
Yeah.
Before it was 181.
181.
181. I thought it was 87.
No, 81.
181.
181. And so we want to know what it is right now.
What it is right now. Right now.
After we're done. Right now.
Right now. We can't do anything to it yet. He didn't bring us the cable.
Oh, okay. And I'm only gonna go 192.
192. Okay.
192.
Well, I'm optimistic because I spent a whole lot of money on it so far before I brought it to these guys. So I'm gonna say 199.5.
How about that? Anybody gonna say 200?
No.
No.
No, 196.
196. All right, we got everybody in. Did you get your prediction in?
I'll say 195.
195. All right, everybody's in. We're all in.
We want to know your prediction. We'll update you on some terminology here too. We say ECU a lot. That is short for the engine control unit. sometimes referred to as an ECM or engine control module. Some people call it the bike's computer. It's a device that governs a sequence of actuators within internal combustion engines. Controls so much. And as Jack was saying, there's a lot they can do with it.
Do
you want me to strap it?
So you're saying more than 200, you got to strap it?
More than 200, you're strapping it.
And there's only been one bike on this dyno with more than 200?
Yes.
Wow.
In this shop.
Which of course
now,
is yours.
Turbo boosters are a different story. But
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you
Stock
want me to
motor.
sit on it instead of,
Stock motor.
put a little bit more weight on there,
Why don't you get on the bike with me, honey?
Now, being that we may be so close to 200, are you tempted to strap this bike?
No.
Okay. So you're not optimistic that we're going to break 200?
No.
Okay, got you.
If we could get into it, we'd break 200.
We'll see what happens. You said BMW, bring my wallet, right?
Oh, yes, exactly.
That could be for all motorcycles, right? We're going to fire this thing up. By the way, the BMW S1000rr is a race-oriented sport bike made by BMW to compete in the 2009 Superbike World Championship. It's 999 cc's, red lines at 14.2. I do believe was the fastest production sport bike for a while before the Kawasaki H2 took over. H2R, that is. We're going to give this thing a couple runs on the dyno.
Don't laugh.
100?
I gotta fix the taxi.
We gotta fix tax signal.
Signal wire on the ECU one time or something? What was I doing the last time?
I think we did it. We did it on here.
All right, we're wired in and ready to go. We're also going to talk about some different numbers too. As you know, the manufacturer's horsepower numbers can be pretty lofty. Take that machine all the way to the red line for the first pull. We'll see what we make, and then we'll do another pull once we build some heat. But for this video, we're going to be dealing with rear wheel horsepower. That is a real number. Sometimes they use power to the crank. We'll find out the difference in this video. Let's see what this BMW made. What was your guess? All right, here we go.
All right, so what's the verdict, guys?
188.
188.
7 horsepower. How much money did you spend?
Hey, that 192 sounds like a pretty good guess.
Yes.
Interesting. So you said it's running rich as hell?
You can't smell it? Your arms aren't burning?
Oh, yeah.
That's rich as hell.
I'm also losing the tax signal too as well, so it actually is probably higher than that. You see where it ends.
Yeah.
And we know we revved it to like 14 to 8-ish.
Yeah.
Right? So it actually would be higher than
A little bit.
Oh, Jack, were you right?
Nope. I don't know who was right.
Because,
Tony was the closest.
What was it?
well, it lost the tax signal, so it's irrelevant.
Well, that means Tony's even closer.
Yeah, we only got a couple
There you go.
What do you make of this, Jack? A little bit lower than everybody thought.
A little bit lower, and it has to do with anytime somebody else builds a flash for you to flash your ECU, it's done on a bike wherever they're located, not here. We're at 308 feet above sea level. They could have done this at 3,000 feet above sea level, which is going to change the AFR
Got you.
drastically. So it changes your performance.
Now, for instance, we race in Fontana. I think that's about, what, 1,800, I believe. So it's lower than here. We're higher here. How do you accommodate for that?
Your stock ECU is going to accommodate about 10% plus or minus. And most bracket bikes, it's fine. The big bikes like Tony runs, like I run, I make drastic fuel changes, changing that kind of stuff. And adjusted elevation too, because I've seen Fontana at 4,500 adjusted.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
the corrected
or even
altitude
higher,
is the most
yes.
important number, right?
Right. And when we build them and what we do with them, it's a lot safer than a stock ECU. Hands down, even if it's off.
So how close were you with your prediction? You can tell that dyno does not lie.
Okay.
And a little bit disappointing for this owner based on how much money he just put in.
Because of where they're at.
Do we have a probe in it?
No, remember he's got them little tiny things in this thing that we got to pull out.
So you think, you know, just more fine tuning, we'll get.
Fine tuning, you'll build power. That's all it is. You got a good base.
The more I play with it, the better it gets. The smoother it is, the better.
Alrighty.
See, that was pressure and time.
Right.
So am I getting this right that you've actually lost horsepower since adding the pipe?
Oh no.
No,
we
okay.
gained-
Would you
we
say
gained 12
first
what?
take?
12?
What was your first? Take me back to that number when you had it stock. What'd you run on your first pull?
181.
Oh, 181. Okay,
Yeah,
so
176. Is that,
176.
is that-
That's 176.
That's completely stopped.
Was
yeah,
that?
completely stopped?
Oh, that's completely stock. So you added the pipe, ECU flash.
Yeah, well, we're at 188 now.
Now we're at 188. So you're up a few horsepower, and as Jack was saying, the air fuel ratio could be a little
Yeah,
better,
the
right?
air fuel ratio's got to be off.
But again, I'm losing the tack signal, so
Yeah.
you can see I still have quite a bit more opportunity to go run out, and it's
Yeah.
still climbing. So it probably is more just a matter of playing with it until we get a good clean tack signal.
You have these little yellow cards you can handle up when you're stressed. You see what his BMW has? A little yellow tag. It says I cannot go fast.
Stressed out, bro.
I can't make power.
Hey, power.
Now we should point out 188 is still a dang fast street bike, right?
Hell yeah. Not fast enough. Not fast enough.
Oh, high
We did,
expectations.
2012 or 2014?
188.
Jack, say that again for me one more time.
2014 ZX14,
Okay.
203 horsepower at the rear wheel.
What'd you have?
Stretched 6 inches.
What'd you have to do to it?
All we did is flash ECU.
Wow. So 14.
A lot of tuning. They took it out to an undisclosed place here in Fresno. Walked all over people by 25 bike lengths.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we know that ZX14 is fast. Well, we got another BMW up. This one a little bit older. We'll see what it can do. And trust me, guys, you know 180
BMW
plus.
Part 2. Here
It's
we
fast.
go. What's your name again, sir?
Michael,
Excellent. What year is this one?
2015.
Okay. What do we have done to this bike?
Full Acropovic exhaust and slip on, and that's it so far.
Okay. What are you hoping to see?
I'd like to see 180, but
Nice. Can't wait.
traction controls off.
So let me know what you think this one will make, guys. BMW continues to improve these bikes year after year, so we do expect this one to be down a little bit from what we saw in the 2020. Still a wickedly mean and fast sport bike.
Stop. Completely stock with that component. You have power commander? Nothing.
I'm going to say 178.
178.
178.
171.
171. So Jack, this bike is 5 years older. Has BMW just improved that much year after year?
Yes.
Okay.
They've made some huge strides with everything about their bikes. It's a magnificent machine. Probably one of the best road racing bikes there are.
And the 2015 was optimized from the 2014 model. BMW made some real strides with this high-performance 4-cylinder machine. Let's see what kind of power we can make. These machines were fitted with race ABS. And also ACS, automatic stability control, as standard equipment. This ensured excellent acceleration and deceleration figures. Also helped you get stopped. With that much horsepower, that's what you need. Oh, you gotta love the sweet sounds of a high-performance four-cylinder inline engine.
Right here. So this is Thomas's run? The blue. The blue. Okay. And that's yours. You're just dropping straight off.
What's the verdict here?
178 horsepower.
100?
Completely stock with an aquaphobic exhaust.
Wow. So you're really not that much far behind the 2020.
No.
Wow.
And there's the
ECU flash, and you can see the RPM obviously won't let it carry it as far as the other one.
Yep.
You have a mile an hour at the bottom.
Oh, that's miles per hour at the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What do you make of this one, Jack?
It has a lot of potential. Hopefully he wants to get it tuned and we can do something with it.
Now, Jack, you told me you use a two-man team when you run this dyno because there's some things you have to watch out for. Could you explain that?
Correct. With a one man can run a dyno. It's a little bit difficult sometimes, especially when you're tuning as fine as we do, because your AFR is key, but also your RPM is key. And you know, if you take a look at it, you know, there's 6 gauges across that board plus 3 digital ones. One person can't watch all those. So when Justin's sitting on the bike, Justin's normally focusing on over here. I'm focusing on this AFR over here, because if it goes below 10, that's dangerous. If it spikes way above 18, that can be dangerous, especially if they stay there and hold. One of us can tell the other one to stop. Or if anything happens on the bike that you won't see, oil leak, whatever, coolant leak, immediately happen, you got multiple eyes instead of having a catastrophe on the dyno, which has happened in the past.
We don't want
So,
that.
Jack, you've seen a lot of motorcycles. 2014 Suzuki Hayabusa. What do you think you would get stock?
Stock about 171.
All right.
Let me take a look here. This is, I don't know if I have a Gen 2 Busa that anybody did. I don't show my numbers for a reason. I don't like people to know what my bike is making.
Understandable. You do a lot of racing at a lot of different places.
Exactly.
Some grudge racing too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let's see.
Grudge racers will understand why you want to keep that a secret.
Here's a perfect example. There was a Gen 1 Busa that started out at 151, ended up with 159. Now this bike had 60,000 miles on it.
So safe to say maybe it was a little bit tired.
Yes, a little bit tired bike. Another one that started at 158, 159. I don't think I have a Gen 2 Busa on here. We had a system crash and I lost a lot of tunes. But let me see. What do we got? A Gen 2 ZX14. Completely stock motor. 193 horsepower to start.
Wow.
Finishing up at 198. Literally nothing done to this motor at all, just tuning. We do, let me find, so we did, horsepower to start.
It's for
Finish
Harley.
with 133 horsepower and 123 foot-pounds of torque.
That's on a Harley. What model?
That's on a Harley. That is on a Road Glide. That's a 2019 Road Glide.
Okay.
That's unheard of horsepower.
So what are you expecting here out of my 2014 Gen 2?
I'm going to...
We got a Brock's pipe.
I'm thinking with the ECU flash, we're going to probably look at about 192 horsepower.
That's crazy. How about as it sits now? What do you expect?
171.
171, okay. And I got the power commander on there. I heard you saying that you like stock ECU better?
Stock ECU way better than a power commander. Matter of fact, I'm almost guaranteeing we're going to see a change. We'll make a run with the power commander on it the way it's configured now. I'm almost willing to bet we pull the power commander off and it makes more horsepower without me ever touching it.
Wow. Now, what do you attribute that to?
Power commanders, when you get a tune from somebody and somebody actually spends time tuning it, if you get a tune from Dyno, Jet, or wherever, or whatever device you use for fuel management, it is built around your pipe, your bike, but not yours. It's just for that year, make, and model, and that's it. And it's done at a different elevation, different humidity, which all that either adds or subtracts horsepower. Most of the time, subtracts what we're seeing.
Very cool. Now, I know Brock's got a cool systems where I think they put a pump gas street tune in it. Is anything we're going to do change the octane that's required?
No. I can lower the octane down to 87 if you want, so you can spend a little bit less money on fuel. I can tune it with the E85 if you want, which you'll spend less money on fuel. You just won't go as far, but you'll make more power. What
do you typically like to run? Because in the video, when I talked to Brock, he likes 87. He said he made the most power with 87, and that's what I've been running. What's your take on this?
Pump gas, with the exception of E85 pump gas, 87 octane will make the most horsepower.
Isn't that crazy?
You know, even if you look at VP's race gas, VP MR12, it's 87 octane. It's oxygenated, but it's still 87 octane. And it makes a lot of power.
So a lot of these sport bike guys that are putting 93 in their motorcycle are just wasting money?
Wasting money as far as I'm concerned. I've run street Busas, my street Harley, race bikes, all on 87 pump gas. And I make more power than guys with even race gas do.
Amazing. Official guesses now on the 2014 Busa with Brock's pipe. What are you saying?
Stock 168.
168. Tony?
I'm going 165 because you got stock with a pipe. So 165.
18,000 miles.
18,000, yep, 165.
Would you like to put in a guess?
I don't see why not. 162.
162. How about you? What, 171?
Yep.
Excellent.
169.
169. I'm going to go 172. I'm going to be optimistic.
Whoa. No, just one cylinder.
Oh, one cylinder. Well, then that would be average. 17.
So this cylinder is bigger than your entire motor.
Gotta love Top Fuel.
You got it.
That's Tony Rogerio's Top Fuel Harley motor. Woo. This is a really cool shop. I'm getting a great education. I hope you guys are enjoying this video, and I'm excited to see what my Busa is going to make on the dyno, and I'm excited to see what we can get it to top out at.
Building me a big motor for me.
They got it all out here, even Top Fuel Harleys. Tony, before you leave, you got to tell me the story on this chassis.
Yeah, this is a Hell's Racing chassis out of Canada. We got off the Pellrines a couple years back. It's gone through 2 owners since we picked it up, but we're just getting ready to put it together. Jack's got the 175 motor inside his shop, top end off of it right now, but it'll be a 175-inch 2-speed, 1,000 horsepower, 6-second machine here soon.
Can't wait to see it. And here we go, guys. It's Busa time.
It is Busa time. Some specs on the 2014. It is the same ultra potent 1340cc inline cylinder, fuel injected.
Here we go. It is Busa time.
Double overhead cam motor that we see in all Gen 2s.
Is the Hayabusa your all-time favorite bike, Jack, since that is your race vehicle of choice?
Yes. For a street bike and for a drag bike.
What year did you get your first Busa?
1999.
Right when it came out, huh?
Had the first Hayabusa sold in Fresno. I owned it.
Wow.
And I had one of the very first Gen 2 Busas ever sold in Fresno.
Can you believe we've had more than 20 years of Suzuki Hayabusas?
I have.
It's gone fast, hasn't it?
Yes, it really is. I'm really excited if the Gen 3 comes out the way they say it's supposed to. But I'm also a little bit discouraged because they're talking about a smaller motor with a turbo on it. Gotcha. I'd rather have a bigger motor with a turbo or a bigger motor with a supercharger.
I'm sure a lot agree.
All right.
No replacement for displacement. This one liquid cooled, 16 valves, twin swirl combustion chambers. It's been an amazing run for the Suzuki Hayabusa, and it's not over yet by a long shot. There is our power commander under the seat. And as I told these gentlemen, I do have this bike on the drag strip
Logged
occasionally.
some miles in the last couple days. It's been to Big Bear Lake and Venice Beach.
Oh,
Had it out.
and then Fresno.
Now Fresno. We can get out of it. Jack, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate
You're
it.
more than welcome, brother. Anything to help you out.
So
We
what do we-
appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much. It was nice to meet you at Fontana. I saw you tearing it up on your Suzuki Hayabusa.
Yeah, that's what we do.
What are we doing here to get ready for this dyno pool?
Right now, we're trying to get a tack signal, and then we're going to make a dyno pull with your current setup.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to remove your power commander, make another pull, and I'm going to show you what the difference between the two are. And then we're going to get into your ECU, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun with
Oh boy, what are we expecting to make here as is, if you had to guess?
it. I'm expecting about 168 to 171 horsepower.
Okay. And by the time we're all done, what are you expecting?
Closer to 200.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
It should be wicked.
Well, hello everybody joining us again. We're here live in Fresno, California. This is the shop of Jack Robinson. If you ever need anything, make sure you look him up. Jack Robinson the 4th on Facebook. And we have our expert dyno technician. What is your name again, sir?
Justin.
Thank you, Justin. I've heard you are the man when it comes to dyno pulling. How long you been doing this?
92.
Thanks for having
A
me.
little while.
What do you think we'll make on this Busa?
I think 171.
171 as is. Completely stock motor. I want to know in Facebook land, what do you think we'll make? Stock motor, we're at a high elevation. We do have the Brock's pipe, which made a huge difference. What's the elevation here?
308, but let's see if I can figure out what the current adjusted elevation is. Give me 1 minute.
$168, Dylan says. The guesses are coming in. It's a 2014. It's got 18,000 miles on it. 170, Francisco says, let me know your prediction. What do you think this Hayabusa will make? It's got a power commander and an awesome Brock's Performance exhaust system.
Yeah, so 308
Well,
feet
this isn't
roughly
going to tell me,
for Fresno.
unfortunately. Hold on, wait a minute. Oh, it's giving us little things. It's not telling me. It's not giving me a true reading.
Okay. Typically, what do you see here?
1800 feet. Let me check if Famoso will show us. If Famoso will show us, then we can we'll go by Famoso.
So I want to correct what I said earlier. Where we race in Fontana is a higher
So I'm really
elevation.
excited, guys. Jack and I were talking off camera, and he was talking about the magic that he can work on a Suzuki Hayabusa with the stock ECU. That's what we're working on today. We're going to see what type of horsepower we're making as is. Harold says 180. Whoa, that's ambitious, Harold. James says 180.
So
Might
right now we can't get any adjusted elevation from any of the local tracks around here because they're all shut down due to the coronavirus.
Got you.
We'll figure out this thing and see what it does.
Can't wait. Here we go, guys.
So when I run in Fontana, I'm running at about 1,300 feet. That's a far cry from, say, Maryland International Raceway on the East Coast that's only about 150 feet above sea level. That makes a big difference in performance. Took it all the way to the rev limiter. That's what you got to do. All right, last chance to get your guess in for the first pull. Moment of truth. if you have a Hayabusa, if you've ever ridden a Hayabusa, let me know about it in the comments. These bikes are a ton of fun.
172.
172. How about it? Okay.
So now we're going to remove the power commander, make one more pass on it, let the bike cool down, do some work to it, and see what kind of power we get out of it.
Okay, now you're a fan of stock ECU, as you were telling me, right?
I'm a big fan of flashing the ECU stock. I ran a power commander, secondary fuel module, and ignition module on my Busa for years. 2 years ago, we decided to switch it. Huge horsepower gains, way better control over the bike all around.
Excellent. Well, this is great. So you're just explaining to me why you make 2 runs. Heat is very valuable, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. So on the first run, you can see we made 169.
Okay.
And then as we build a little bit of heat in the cylinder head, the second time around on the second pull, it makes, 172.
172. Is there a point of diminishing returns where it gets too hot?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that the second run?
So the second run is going to be, that's your glory
That's it.
run. After that, now you're altering the knock index for heating up the fuel, so on and so forth. If that makes sense.
Does make sense.
Okay.
So these are a little piggyback. So what this does is you plug the stock one into here, and then it has another, actually you plug stock one into here, and then this goes into your injector rail.
Leave your last one.
I got to get the throttle position sensor off. I don't know if I can get my fingers underneath. I can put this one back on. You may even have to put it back on.
Yeah, it's tough to get to that TPS, at least for a guy with fat fingers like me. So look at this, the power commander is off. That was a stunner to me.
Jack, we're talking about how much potential these motorcycles have, and we were wondering, why does Suzuki restrict them a little bit? We've got EPA considerations, we've got safety considerations. What's your take on this?
What my take in on it is this. If they would actually tune a bike properly, and riders would buy bikes that, to their skill level, they'd be okay. Because literally, even when I tune drag bikes, that bike runs cleaner and more efficiently and will last longer than any street bike out unless you have a catastrophic failure, which happens on street bikes as well. The way the AFR works, they rich them out, they lean them out to rob you of power. They don't want you taking off like a rocket ship. They want to govern you just like they're doing in the cars. In the cars, they govern it. They put throttle stops on them. There's all kinds of things they do to cars. They're trying to do the same things to motorcycles. The problem is we like riding motorcycles. We like the fact that if we need to get out of a situation, we can twist that throttle and that bike will respond how we want it to. Don't want to twist the throttle and have it not do anything. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. My 2019 CVO Street Glide. We were watching it and we couldn't figure out how come we watched it go to 100% throttle, and for 1/10 of a second, and then the throttle blades would drop down to 15%. It's just robbing us of power. So we went in, we made all the changes. Now when I hold it at 100% throttle, it will stay there. The blades stay wide open like they should. Therefore, if I get in a situation, I can hit my throttle and I'm out of the situation. I don't got to worry about it. An inexperienced rider, that could be really dangerous.
Sure.
An experienced rider, I'm going to say that's what we love. That's the way bikes used to be.
And I can tell you from the long ride up here, there were a few situations where my safest move was to get in the gas and get away from everybody.
Correct.
Instead, when you're in 5 lanes of traffic, instead of looking every which way, you can look forward and hit the gas. That is a safe move. We know that you want to keep your speed down, you want to be safe, but sometimes the throttle is your friend.
Exactly. When in doubt, throttle out.
I like it. I like it.
Yes, good advice indeed. And there is the stock ECU that we plan on playing with here. I hope you're enjoying this long video. More to come. We'll see what we can do with this Hayabusa. I hope you enjoy hanging out at Jack
what software
Robinson's
does
shop.
one need to do a stock ECU flash?
You can either use ECU Editor or a combination of ECU Editor and Woolwich Racing. The one thing I will say about this, there's a lot of people out there that says, oh, I'll flash the ECU. Basically what they're going in, they're just turning things on and off. If you don't have a dyno, you're not getting the potential out of flashing your ECU. It's kind of like sending your ECU off to, basically anybody and have them flash your ECU. If you decide not to tell them the exhaust so they don't do the fuel tables and don't do ignition tables, they're just turning things off for you to gain you a little bit of horsepower. That's all.
Very well said. How long does it take you usually from start to finish to do a ECU flash?
Depends on how far the bike is off with the exhaust. Sometimes really quick, couple hours, sometimes 15, 16 hours. It just all depends.
Wow.
Busas are normally the fastest ones to go, especially the Gen 2s. They're pretty close, but when we pull all the restrictions out of it, you know, we try to get it just a little bit of extra for everybody. You know, make it so you can run on 87 octane instead of 91, 92, 93 like people want to. You know, just because the tank says something, the manufacturer says something, that doesn't mean it's going to make the most amount of power.
And I want to know, have you ever had your bike on the dyno? If you have, let us know in the comments below. Share your experience. If you're in the California area and you'd like to visit Jack Robinson's
What we got
shop,
cooking now, Jack?
let us know.
Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're just building a basic tune. Basically turning everything off that the factory turns on that's not needed for performance of this motorcycle. We're setting everything so that you basically have one map. We'll still leave your mode. Do you use your mode switch?
No, not really.
You don't. So
I got to be honest with you. I played with it a little bit on the street and really haven't noticed a big difference. So I just leave it on mode 1.
okay, so we're going to make everything so mode A, which mode A is your most power.
You're sure?
So we'll just make it mode A across the board. We're going to disable a lot of the stuff that's not needed to make power with. And I don't know if you noticed on your power commander that every once in a while your fuel injector light will come on. Did you notice that?
I did not notice that.
Okay, Brox may have tuned that out of it. But boosters are famous for the fuel injector light to come on when you have a power commander. So we can actually turn that off so we don't have those issues.
Okay.
So we're going to lower the fan temp so your fan comes on sooner, which means your bike's going to make more power all the time. We can increase your rev limiter if you feel comfortable with it.
Well, that would be a good question for you. I mean, at the drag strip, I'm trying to get the most out of it without damaging the motor. This is a street bike first.
Correct.
Right? It's not an all-out pro street bike. I'm not looking to break world records. I'm just looking for a nice street bike that can run some pretty quick times on the strip. So
I would say we could do 11.8.
what's it at stock?
Stock is what, 10? No, stock is 11.
11, okay.
So we're going to put it at 11.8. I run mine at 12.3.
All right.
So, and I actually shift at 12.3 too. So
Wow.
you just got to be dead on to shift it that
Sure.
high. So.
We told you this would be
I
a
have
lot of
another question
information.
for you. So we
Change
just
that,
we made 172 at the rear wheel.
right.
Suzuki will tell you 200 at the crank.
Right.
What's the difference?
The difference is there's no load on the crank. The crank is just free spinning. You're not even talking about spinning horsepower or reduced horsepower from your clutch. So you lose with friction, you lose from length, you lose from weight. All that rotating mass will drop your horsepower. And dropping 24 horsepower is easy. You know, Harleys are actually the ones that probably drop the most.
Now, being the fact that this is how the bike sits, this is how the bike operates, is rear wheel horsepower a more layman's term, accurate, everyday number for us?
That is the horsepower that real racers and gearheads use. Nobody uses crank horsepower because no one's going to put their motor on an engine dyno and win anything.
Good point.
Well said, Jack. Rear
All right, next
wheel.
run coming up. Jack, what changes do we have here for this run?
Only thing we've done so far is remove the power commander. That's it.
That's it.
That is it. This is completely stock at this point, with the exception of your Brox exhaust.
Oh, you gotta love the sound of that Brock's exhaust system. I got a present for you too, down below in the description. We're gonna have a link to save you money if you're interested in a Brock's exhaust. Now this is quite an education for me, the stock ECU versus the Power Commander. I just assumed you'd be able to make more power with the Power Commander. It's such a great product. It's interesting for me to hear that Jack favored the stock ECU. Let's see where we're at.
First run with Power Commander was 169 horsepower. Your run without the Power Commander, 172.
Wow.
That just tells you how far off a Power Commander can really throw things.
Okay. What was the difference between run 2?
Run 2 was just to get more more heat in the head. That's all it was.
Still made a little more half.
Yeah.
Half over.
So cold run compared to a cold run. So heat in the head, you're always going to show more. So, no, you did the wrong way.
Is there an undo?
Cold
And cold. So cold run 169, cold run 170. 170 without the Power Commander.
So it made one more horse without the Power Commander.
One more horsepower without the Power Commander.
and down here you can see a lot of this.
Right. Just don't look at the torque on the first run because we weren't even measuring torque.
But it is a few more. 71 to 75. Big swing. And big swing.
What's your interpretation of what you're looking at?
Well, essentially, so it is making more power down here at the bottom end, cold run versus cold run. And that could be just from air-fuel differences from the Power Commander to where it's at currently, the stock version of it. Then out here, obviously it really didn't make any difference, maybe one. Yeah, not too much of a difference.
Very
All right, what
interesting.
are we looking at here?
Okay, so this is the air-fuel ratio of the stock version, stock ECU, no Power Commander whatsoever. So you can see those gains that were made were probably from it being a little leaner on the stock version of it. So it made an extra few horsepower. Then once it richens up, then it'll lose a little and so on. The lean is definitely mean, but it's not safe. You need to have enough fuel in there to cool the piston down. That's what actually inherently cools the piston down.
Sure. Being that this is a street bike, we don't want it too lean and mean, right?
Correct. No, not at all.
Yeah, definitely don't want it too lean and mean, but shout out to the Power Commander because as you can see, Power Commander and stock ECU in this application is not much different. Based on what we pulled here anyhow. As we said, the Power Commander is a great product. Now if you have access to a dyno, if you have access to a guy like Jack, you can take your bike to the next level if that's what you'd like to do. To be honest though, what we're dealing with here is drag strip performance and horsepower. There's only so much you can use on the street, and we know that. But me being an aspiring drag racer and trying to learn on this bike, I would like some more horsepower. Getting it up around 200 is pretty alluring for me. So we'll see what the masters can do. But we're hoping you are finding this video very informative and educational. As I said, stick with us all the way through the end. Add your input, add your comments. We'll sum this thing all up when we're done. And we will let you know how to get a hold of Jack if you're interested. Up in the high R's once again. Let's see what the computer says here as Justin does some of his tuning.
All right, Jack, let's update people as to what's going on here. Power Commander back on. Bring me up to speed on that.
Right. Our interface box had an issue. The software we used to get into ECUs changed, so we couldn't use our flash box anymore. So instead of waiting around and going to get another one, we just put the Power Commander back on. So we're going to gain some more power. We're going to adjust it a little bit more. But it's still, the difference between a Power Commander and ECU is you can fine tune an ECU, and a Power Commander is a little bit more rough, but we can flatten it out and still gain some good power with it.
Excellent. What are the main differences in terms of the software that you're looking at right there with Power Commander?
Okay, between a Power Commander and an ECU, a Power Commander, you can do everything basically on the fly. You don't got to write to it. You make a change, it's already done. ECU, you actually have to physically write an entire file to the ECU of all the changes you've made. This one, you can, every line change you make, it automatically writes it to the Power Commander, which overwrites the ECU sending out. As an example, if the ECU is sending out 100 and we want it at 98, we subtract 2. So the Power Commander is sending to the fuel at 98. If we wanted 102, we add 2, and it'll take that 100 and make it 102.
Wow.
That's all it'll do.
How much do you think we could gain ballpark just from playing with the Power Commander?
What did we start at? Do you remember?
172?
172. We'll get 183, 184 out of it.
Wow, it's 10 horsepower. Now,
It's
10
10
horsepower, you're going to feel that
You
on the
will.
ride home.
You will feel it. It'll be a lot smoother. If you look at the AFR, how wavy it is, the smoother the line gets to the dotted red line across there, the smoother your transition is going to be. So, and like what we're doing now is we're doing 100% throttle, 80% throttle, and 60% throttle. So your likelihood at 100% throttle is going to be at the drag strip. 80% throttle, you might hit that on the highway. More than likely, you're going to be around 60 to 65 on the highway.
That sounds about right.
So cruising, you'll be even less than that.
Sure.
Just don't show them that clip with the Camaro. Keep working on this thing.
Jack, you're telling me one of the tricks here is to get the fans on sooner?
Yes, the cooler we can keep the motorcycle, the more power it's going to make. And it's going to make more reliability. So even if, like, you look at this one here, you can see when the AFR comes, when you put the AFR back up, you'll see the AFR come in. It's the air intake temperature sensor. It's getting warm because the fans aren't on. If the fans are on, it's keeping that cooler. So therefore, it won't try to take more fuel or add more fuel accordingly.
Teaching me an old school trick here. I saw you putting your hand over the exhaust. What were you looking for?
I was looking for heat. Heat and moisture. If you're rich, it's wet. If it's really lean, it's extremely hot. It's going to be hot, but it's super hot, and you'll feel the flame. You'll feel it pulsing heat at you instead of a constant nice flow. That's all.
So could you please talk me through what you're doing now?
Just adjusting the air-fuel ratio to straighten out this line. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking whatever the number is, like for example it's 1287, I'm going to leave that alone, that's pretty safe. But like some of these other ones, I'm going to straighten those out. So like 12.7, that's 6,000, so I'm going to go down here to 6,000 and I'll take 1% out of that to try and get us closer to that 9. So that 7 should be an 8 the next time we make a run.
And in layman's terms, what's that going to do for performance?
Performance-wise, what it's going to do is it straightens out the air-fuel ratio so that it doesn't feel like there's any roughness to the map while you're driving through these RPMs. It smooths out the feel of the bike.
All right, we're taking a look at some of the changes you have been making here to air fuel. Can we see a little before and after?
Sure. So what we got here is you can see the big difference in the air fuel right here.
Which pool was this?
So the green one is going to be like a stock version,
Okay.
and then the corrected one is what we've already corrected, and you can see the difference in just how much the air fuel makes to the horsepower. So here it's saying that it's 121.9, almost 122, and then 119. That's all that is a difference of about 9% air fuel ratio. So 9% difference makes up that differentiation in horsepower. And it gets, obviously more prevalent in these areas where the air fuel is real big swing there for them. But on the lower end, it makes a smaller difference as it does on the higher end. So you can see only like 2 points of air fuel makes a 169 to 171 difference on the high end.
Right, and the biggest difference you're seeing on the high end, the green is where you were out of everything before. You couldn't have any more power, no more fuel, it just couldn't do anything. The red line carried you out to 11 grand, as opposed to stopping you about 10.3.
This has been such an awesome day. We are done. I want to thank you guys so much. Let's recap this thing. Okay, first pull of the day, 165 horsepower with the Power Commander. We are now up to 173. We pick up 8. The air fuel curve is going to be a lot different, a lot smoother. What are your thoughts on everything that we were able to do today?
We picked up quite a bit. We smoothed it out, smoothed out the air fuel ratio, which is going to be a better seat of the pants feeling for you, and also just gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Sure.
That's the major thing.
What do you think, Jack?
I think the same thing. Like I said, when we were talking about with the ECU, if our equipment wouldn't have had the issues, we would have seen almost 200 horsepower out of this bike. A lot more finer tuning with the ECU, a lot more things we can do with it, which we'll do in a second version of this video for you, and show you. Power Commander is perfectly safe. You're still going to get great power out of it. So, and I will expect better times out of the drag strip.
I'm going to try. Now that's up to me if I can keep the throttle twisted. Why do you think, or why is it that we're able to get so much more out of the stock ECU? Because
there's way more we can do with this. The only thing a Power Commander does is fuel. With the ECU, we can do fuel, we can do timing, we can get rid of things that are not being used on this motorcycle anymore. As an example, your servo for your exhaust, your pair valve. We can do things with shifting where we don't have to cut into the wiring harness to make this bike shift. So there's just a whole lot more you can do with an ECU than you can with a Power Commander.
Very cool. Now to give the other side of that, because we know my man Brock does sell the Power Commanders. For a guy that's not going drag racing, for a guy that wants to put on a pipe, plug and play on the street, Power Commander, a great product, right?
It's a good product, and Brock Davison's a hell of a tuner. Like I said, the difference is he's in Ohio, we're here. So we are going to have a little bit of a difference, and we saw it. We saw 8 horsepower, and he would probably be one to tell you, yeah, you could do that same thing. It's just difference in air quality here.
You are the drag bike aficionado. What difference do you think I'll be feeling on the track with what we did?
I'm expecting you probably about 9:35.
Whoa! You're setting the bar rather high for me.
I set them high.
9:35 is my number, by the way, so that was a coincidence.
So,
which comes from my dad bought his first motorcycle for $935.
I did a stock motor Busa with a power commander and ignition module, with a wheelie bar and a slick. $898.
Wow.
So it can be done.
It certainly can be done. But now it's just up to the rider. You got any dyno programs to tune in the rider? Is there anything you do to tune me?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can add too in the factory ECU. We can add it's a slew rate, which is almost like a traction control. It'll only let the engine accelerate a certain amount of RPMs per second. So that helps a lot, especially with guys that don't have wheelie bars.
I just mean actually tuning me. Can you fix my clutch hand? Is there anything you can do?
No.
Throttle hand?
It's trial and error. I mean, just go out there and do your best, and don't be afraid to change different things that you're doing, but change one thing at a time so that you know the actual data on, okay, this is the only thing that I've changed. This is the difference that made. Then go to the next thing. Then go to the next thing.
Trial and error, seat time. I love it. Jack, if anybody wants to get their bike tuned, if they need any help, if they would like to inquire about your services, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Look up Team Robinson Racing on Facebook. I'm on there. Shoot me a message. We'll talk.
Anybody in the West Coast that can get here? I mean,
anybody on the West Coast, anybody on the East Coast. I don't care whether it's a sport bike or a Harley. It doesn't matter. I'll tune it.
And I give you a big endorsement. This is an awesome shop. Thank you so much. Former Marine, we love that. Thank you for your service. And I think everybody should be here helping to grow your shop, because we don't see too many shops like we used to. And you're a guy that really, not only do you know the dyno side and the tuning side, you also get it done as a rider. So that means a lot.
That's it.
Good man. Thank you so much, Jack. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jack.
And thank you very much. I appreciate. Any final thoughts from you?
My pleasure. Thank you for coming. I appreciate everything.
I'm excited to feel it, guys. Thanks so much.
One bonus bike before we go. Let's check it out.
Along today, we have a little bit of a sleeper up here. It looks like a custom built Buell. What do we have?
This is actually a complete custom built bike. The only thing I think that's really Buell on it is the Airtech fairings on it.
Okay.
This bike was built to road race at one point. They figured out with a Harley motor in it, it was too heavy to road race this bike. So somebody got in their infamous wisdom, we're going to build a drag bike. So they took the 1200cc motor, changed it all. It's a complete S&S build, big cams, big huge carburetor on it, wheelie bar on it. It's everything you could actually want in a drag bike. This bike is actually Robert Pops Castanarius from After Hours Racing. This is his new drag bike.
Somebody tag Pops for us. Shout out to Pops.
We were hoping to debut this bike at the first race, but due to COVID-19, everyone knows we're not racing. So we're spending a little bit of more time and get this bike going. The gentleman who was that had the bike before, ran like 1090s on it. I'm going to get this bike down into the 9s.
Oh.
We're going to make a few changes to it, a little bit different wiring, change up a little bit on it, change the fuel, make it a little bit more of a reliable bracket racer.
Okay, as for the show we're about to put on right now, what is the goal for horsepower? What are we trying to hit?
We don't even know. There's not a whole lot known about what this motor can really put out. It has never been on a dyno. The rider that was on it was over 200 pounds. And the one thing he kept saying, it was rich, the plugs would always foul. So we're not quite sure. We're going to...
If you had to guess, what are we going to see rear world horsepower?
130, 140 maybe.
140.
But monstrous torque.
Monster torque. All right, for everybody watching, in the comments, leave us your guess. Let's see who can hit it dead on. How much horsepower will this make? Will we do 2 pulls on this as well?
We will do a couple pulls on it, yes.
A couple pulls. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know where you're watching from and how much horsepower you think this Buell that belongs to Pops can make here in beautiful Fresno, California at Team Robinson Racing. And look at this over here. We got the brain power. You guys having a good night?
Yeah.
I want to thank you. We've been working hard on the Hayabusa. We picked up some horsepower. Everybody's going to be able to see that tomorrow on the Cycledrag YouTube channel. What's your prediction for how much horsepower we're going to make on this one?
125.
125. Okay, what do you say?
I'll start out with 110. Let's say low, because it's rich.
110. All right. Wow, we got some big predictions coming in. Somebody says 168. Kenny says 130.
Well, here we go. Let's see what this old school Buell drag bike can make. Also want to know how much horsepower your motorcycle makes. If you've ever had it dynoed, if you have a guess, let us know. Your make and model and rear wheel horsepower. Put that down in the comments for us. Uh-oh. Always some issues to overcome. Jack and Justin are great at that. Very experienced motorcycle tuners and mechanics. Man, my eyes are starting to burn. This thing is very rich, way too rich. I can't believe the former rider raced it like this. No wonder this thing was fouling plugs. Nice rip. Let's get in there and see where we're at. As I can tell though, this thing, I don't know if the gas is permeating through your smartphone, but this is way rich. I'm sure a lot of you experienced tuners can hear just by the ear test that this thing's not running 100% correct. But when Jack gets done with it, you know that it will be on point. Curious to see what numbers we made and what's going on right now. As I said before, there's a whole lot of exhaust and fuel in the air. Wow. This thing is very rich.
God, it's literally just too rich. It's way rich. What's that AFR look like?
It's 10.
Oh!
It's too rich.
What are you seeing on air fuel ratio?
It's 10 O's right here.
It's
10
flatlined at
O's.
10s.
It's way too rich. That's what all the sputtering was there on the top end. So 59 horsepower and 75 foot-pounds. Sputtering.
Sputtering.
Let's get that fixed up.
Well, how much fuel we got in there? Because the only thing we have is that jet.
Well, we'll let those guys get to work. It's getting late, better get on the road. And they actually have to physically change jets on that old school bike. You can't do it electronically. Well, Jack did text me when I was on my way home, and they were able to pick up 30 horsepower just from a minor jetting change, and they're not done yet. We'll see what's coming. Boy, the Hayabusa felt great on the way home. Positive changes were definitely felt. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it educational. I know I learned a lot, and we're not done yet because as Jack alluded to, we did not get into the stock ECU. That's where the real significant power gains are. So next time we meet up with Jack, that's what the goal will be, to see if we can get this Suzuki Hayabusa a little closer to 200 horsepower. But man, what a great time we had up there. It was great meeting everybody. A fun way to kill a Saturday, that's for sure. If you'd like to get your bike dyno tuned in the California area, hit them up.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope we provided you with a little bit of entertainment. That's always what we aim to do. We love motorcycles. You love motorcycles. Let's keep this thing growing. Check it out, guys. Up here on the wall, 100,000 subscribers. I love it. Thank you so much. It's all because of you. We appreciate it. Please come with any story ideas. We love the comments and the feedback. I read every single one of them. The positivity is always appreciated. And you haters out there, I love you too because you keep me on my toes. Thank you for watching no matter what. Guys, to keep this thing growing, please subscribe to Cycledrag on YouTube. Hit the bell for notifications. Share it with some friends who like drag racing, like motorcycles. This is how we can keep this thing going. And also like Cycledrag.com on Facebook. And we'll keep rolling. We'll keep finding those stories. We'll keep finding those impressive high-performance motorcycles that you want to see. Thank you guys so much. Truly appreciate it. You know, if there's anything fast motorcycles involved, we are in. Cycledrag rolls on.
Hey guys, this is WWE superstar Zack Ryder, and when I'm not winning championships or collecting action figures, I'm on YouTube watching Cycledrag and going to cycledrag.com. And also when you're on YouTube, go to the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. Alright, Cycledrag on YouTube, cycledrag.com.
Hey Cycledrag, you know we got your back. Come here for a second. Check this out. Brock's Performance Exhaust. Well, right now, if you go down below in the description, you will find a special link to save you money at Brock's Performance. Make sure you check it out. The link is down below. You can get your exhaust pipe and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, the legend! The legend is here. How are you doing, sir?
I'm cycle dragging. That's what I'm doing. Cycle dragging forever and ever and ever.
You are the man. Sweep the leg, right?
Sweep the leg, no mercy, and cycle dragging.
No mercy indeed. Part 2 will be coming. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Please subscribe to Cycledrag on YouTube. Comment, like, share, hit the bell for notifications. Like Cycledrag.com on Facebook. And you know, if there's anything fast motorcycle involved, especially if it's on the dyno, we are in. Cycledrag rolls on.